quite early. We launched like the first on-chain lending protocol, ETH short for Ethereum lending, and since then, kind of not just like we as a team have been kind of like improving and going through the narrative of on-chain finance, and later what's became like decentralized finance as a kind of like a ecosystem today. And I think somewhere in 2019 we practically wanted to build something very, very efficient, and contribute to the current back then the DeFi ecosystem, and kind of like have a governance model on top of the protocol itself. And I think it took us quite substantial amount to build. We wanted to have something very good, and we worked quite hard for getting the Aave protocol back a year ago to get it launched. And interestingly, DeFi itself, like when you look at the values and ecosystem size, of course, like it was a bit smaller a year ago. But what's interesting is that like we definitely expected like some traction what we built a year ago, but I think what's happened over like 2020, like the whole ecosystem has been growing quite a lot. But surprisingly, some of the consumptions that we have in our product, the lending, borrowing, flash loans, there's a lot of kind of things that we didn't expect to happen in this volume. And last year definitely was very interesting. I mean, back then when we implemented, for example, flash loan, the functionality, there wasn't that much traction in the beginning, and we actually campaigned quite a lot, in hackathons and in publicly that this is a cool feature that you could use. And at some point, of course, there was different kinds of flash loan attacks that got some publicity for flash loans. But in overall, if you think about it, like even last year, we had over 2 billion worth of flash loans taken from the protocol. So there's kind of like a lot of things that we didn't definitely expect to happen, and it's been quite a journey the whole year. And overall, like I think for us, what's been always important is keeping innovation. Like we want to innovate, but also have a rate of innovation that we do it on a constant basis. So we definitely believe that in DeFi or any software development, a product isn't ready. There's always something you have to improve, and it's a constant kind of like a feedback loop that you're going through. And I think one of the parts of the success that Aave has had, and the traction, it's mainly because of the community we have built. So I mean, the Aave token, which used to be Lend token, for example, it was issued 3 years ago, and that has been tying the community quite together, and also the products that we have. So all this success is kind of like accumulating over time, and I think that's one of vital things that when you look at the Aave community and the success that has been happening during last year, it's quite there's quite big element of a community and community support and community feedback loops, whether it's the product or governance or something else. So that's been like something that's been very much into what we're doing. And I guess like for Aave, important thing always has been to be kind of like a as a team and as a protocol, being very friendly, open, in the sense that we want to work with everyone. We understand that decentralized finance and in the whole kind of wider space, not just decentralized finance, but we think about the Ethereum community and and blockchain in general and on-chain systems, that you have to work with everyone and keep pushing forward. And that's the whole idea of even DeFi. The interoperability by default is what takes this space forward and makes it a very unique value proposition compared to the finance that is today. exists. And yeah, so we're super excited. I mean, today, I think I don't know how exactly we're going to do, but I think there's some remarks from the team members as well. I think there's Emilio and Ernesto and Jordan probably wants to share a couple of words, and Mark. But yeah, I don't know how do you, Hunter, want to do the
Yeah, so we're actually going to have some of our special guests give some words first, but it's up to you guys. I think we could save the development stuff for
I
just
think
after that.
special guest could be cool.
Yep. So we do have a few. Start off, we got Ryan from Bankless. He wants to take over, say a few words.
Yeah, hey guys, happy Aaveversary. Can everyone hear me? Just not if so.
Yeah.
Guys, I was just looking at the DeFi charts, the DeFi Pulse charts, and I noticed a year ago, the last Aaveversary, there was 300K locked in the Aave protocol. And now Aave is on the cusp of 3 billion. Like, that's just, these numbers are absolutely mind-blowing. I am in awe that this sort of thing can only happen in DeFi with protocols, not companies. I think Stani said it, like, it's all about the community. So, wow, well done. This protocol has been incredible, I think, for Ethereum, for the DeFi space, for onboarding the world. And we've been really excited to participate as part of the Bankless community with this. Thanks for giving us a tool to go bankless, guys. This has been fantastic. We appreciate it. Hats off to the team who created this and the community who made it possible.
Awesome, thank you. And up next on our special guest list is DeFi Dad. Now, if I had a nickel every time I was confused with DeFi Dad, I probably wouldn't have to be here right now. But give it up for DeFi Dad.
Yeah, hey everyone. Thanks for having me, and good to see you too, DeFi dude. I know we do often get confused. It's kind of funny. I just wanted to keep it short as well. A year ago, I remember trying to explain to some coworkers what Aave was, just like what the next iteration of ETHLend actually was. And I was telling Stani this a while ago. I really didn't fully understand flash loans, but I knew they were powerful. And I remember distinctly saying to my friends, yeah, so it does this, it does that, and don't worry about the flash loans thing. I don't know what the fuck it is. And here we are, a year later. I feel like it's totally transformed my ability to just move money from application to application, or in the case of Aave, doing credit swaps right now. And I'm excited for debt swaps here in the near future. And then just really a compliment to you in terms of building like a brand in a community. I personally hold you all as like the benchmark. I think that it's a trickle down effect of Stani. So if everyone's ever spoken with Stani, he's such a warm, genuine person. He wants to talk to anyone who has ever touched Aave. And there's a sense of just being a good human that like has spread throughout the entire team. And I think it's no surprise there's like 25,000 token holders now. So yeah, guys, just congrats. I don't know how you make so many numbers go up, and I'm not even talking about price. Just it's the total value locked numbers are outrageous. And I look forward to you having 100 billion in total value locked in the next year. So I think that number is very, very realistic. So thanks for having me, and would love to have Stani and the team on Yield TV in the near future.
Thanks. And I have to say, like, basically, like, even though I'm the kind of like a face everywhere, so I appear, all of the well, as any kind of interviews I have, like, actually, like the success of the kind of like the innovation, within the community in the Aave team is pretty much kind of like a team effort. So I think in one way, if you look at what we're doing is kind of like a lot of individuals contributing to kind of like same effort and having this constant passion of innovating things and changing finance. And it's quite fascinating to see. So I would say like I'm pretty much also like very I don't know what would be the right word, but I would say like lack of better word, blessed to be in such a team where we have so many individuals who are like putting effort, and it's just nice to see. And that is why like probably like Aave will keep doing what we're doing, because it's a very common effort, and you know, and even though I have to put my face everywhere because everyone seems to be busy, but it's very very amazing how fun it is actually to work with the within the team.
Awesome. So last on the special guest list, we've got 0x Mackie, made famous through sushi. So if he wants to give some words of wisdom here.
Yeah, similar to Stani, I just wanted to echo that, you know, famous, yeah, but I'd rather like keep it to sushi and whatever. I just wanted to congratulate everyone that worked on Aave V2. It's an amazing protocol. I think it's a amazing milestones to be celebrating in this event. The flash loans were kind of one of the highlights of 2020. I think nobody can discuss that. With the expanding token list that is coming to Aave V2, the LP tokens coming, I think the future is bright. The governance has been decentralized, empowering devs with hackathons. I think here we need to get inspired by what Aave has done for the past year and so, by elevating the entire ecosystem. Few people understand the ramification of the referral program, and also like a successful switch from LAND to Aave. The Aavenomics have been a success so far, and I think they're going to keep inspiring more and more tokens to be used as a backstop in their protocol. So I just wanted to thank also Stani personally, because few knows, but I actually had interaction with him before joining Sushi. Even when I was a nobody or something like that, always open for dialogue, and I think that was truly what made me inspired about, you know, Sushi is to have Aave as one of the inspirations. So thank you, and I cannot wait to see what the few decades ahead of us are going to look like for Aave.
Awesome. And thank you. And thank you, DeFi Dad and Ryan as well. Lots of growth, lots of milestones over the past year, been truly something awesome. Next up, I'm just going to kind of go over some of the stuff on the governance forum board, you know, some popular proposals and other stuff. And then after that, we can get some dev updates. So just to start, like, as far as call it like metrics, I guess, for the forum. So I think our last call, we had roughly 500 users partaking in the forums and maybe like 500 posts total. And so now in this call, we've got over 1,200 users on our forums with over 5,000 posts. So, you know, it's definitely great to see that that activity pick up. Really awesome to see. So, I mean, and just as a refresher too, as far as like, if you're kind of out of the loop, as far as, you know, how does something go from a proposal on the forum to being implemented in the protocol? Just a very basic refresher is, you know, you can start on the forum itself, create an ARC or Aave request for comment, something you want input on, and then from there you can get, you know, see if there's support for it, then signal it, possibly like with a poll on the forums, and then from there, you know, you can take it, create a PR and an actual, you know, formalized AIP, and then from there, someone with the proposal power can make it an official proposal. So of some of the popular proposals, a lot of them we've had were asset listing suggestions. So I'm not gonna go over all of them, but some of the popular ones that we saw would be Balancer's BAL token, as well as Aragon ANT. A lot of support there, and two new assets that were actually put onto the protocol recently is Curve and Gemini's GUSD. So those are two new additions that are already live and in the protocol on V2. Another topic that we briefly covered that's still you know, popular is the rescue mission. So there were a lot of users that, through accident, whether accidentally or whatever, sent either Lend or Aave to the token contract for Lend or Aave, and basically the contract doesn't have the logic to return it. So a lot of support for getting those funds back to the users as well. So I think that's moving along nicely. We have one of our community members, excuse me, Zero Dot. He is, he's expressed a lot of interest in making that his priority and rescuing those assets. So, if you're looking for someone to delegate your proposal power to, you can look into Zero Dot. I believe he posted a blog about his vision, kind of like how he's gonna vote and the reasons why, he thinks he would make for a good delegate. So definitely worth looking into that as well. And then lastly, we have a vote that's live now. It's off the forums now and into an actual AIP. It would be AIP 7. And basically what AIP 7 is going to do is it's a vote to basically, enable the slashing for staking. So right now it's 0%. So in the event of a shortfall of event or something on the protocol, right now, none of your stake would be at risk. However, going forward, this vote would move it up to 30%. So now it's actually, your stake is actually going to be used to protect the protocol as defined in the Aavonomics. Can't talk today. And then lastly would be to increase the daily Aave rewards for 400 Aave a day up to 550. I just kind of reflect that risk, raising the slashing rate. So raising the reward rate. And we have another proposal from the people over at Delphi Digital. I think we've got Jose with us today. They posted one back in November. It was for a proposal, and then they got a lot of feedback, lots of awesome feedback, and made some changes, refined it. And now they're with us today. They posted another one a few days back. So if we want to hear, what that's all about and maybe an overview of the revamped proposal from Jose.
Nice. Should I go now or?
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, we're really happy to be here. I don't want to pile on with like the compliments, but I mean, we've worked with a lot of teams in the space and participated in a lot of communities, and Aave's is kind of unrivaled in terms of the quality of the community. And we saw that in the feedback that we got on our proposal, and we saw that obviously in the speed at which the team shipped this year. And I mean, it'd be hard to ask for a better year than what Aave had this year. So yeah, congrats to everyone and to all the community holders and everyone on this call. So today I just want to, obviously, like we tend to go pretty like TLDR on these proposals, and not everyone's got time for that. So I just wanted to give a quick like summary on what the proposal is, why we put it in, and why we think that it makes a lot of sense, basically. So high level, like the proposal is basically an improvement to the current safety module, which is exactly what the first proposal was as well, right? So we love the idea of the safety module. We think it's like one of the best and most elegant token economic systems, because it really puts skin in the game in the hand of in those governing the protocol, right? Like you're actually backstopping the protocol, and so you have to live with the consequences of your decisions, of your bad decisions, and you get rewarded for making good decisions. And so the safety module currently is an insurance product, and we think that as an insurance product, there's a few improvements that can be made to it. And the main one that we address in this proposal is that right now, it's an insurance product, but it's actually bundled in with Aave's money markets, right? Anyone who deposits on Aave is automatically insured. So it's all bundled in. And what that means is it's impossible to actually compute what the demand for cover is, right? And that makes it very difficult to price cover, and also to figure out like what capacity should be. And that's the main thing that we look to improve in this proposal, is to make insurance kind of a separate product, which then gives you the ability to have sort of a demand side metric for it, and gives you the ability to price it better. And it also gives Aave like a standalone insurance product. There are a few other kind of flaws that this with the current safety module that this proposal seeks to address, and they're kind of consequences of the fact that cover is bundled in. The first one is systemic risk, right? But because everyone's automatically insured, all deposits are automatically insured, that means that adding a new asset to the protocol is like a big decision, right? Because it introduces systemic risk and contagion. Like if one asset goes bad, that can affect the entire protocol. And this we feel like hampers the speed at which Aave can innovate, because it increases the costs of making bad decisions, right? Any one bad decision can lead to this systemic risk. And then the final one is just capital inefficiency. Like right now, it offers a bundled risk reward to stakers. So it's, it's quite low by sort of DeFi standards, and there's no ability for stakers to get a higher yield by sort of taking on more risk, right? It's just like a blended yield across for all the insurance. And then it's also unlevered. Insurance depends on leverage to be efficient, and leverage depends on diversification. And right now, the current design, it would be difficult to do that. And then, I mean, the final flaw that we don't really address here is pro-cyclicality, and like a mismatch of assets and liabilities with it being denominated in Aave. But that's more up like Gauntlet's alley, and I think that's very much solvable. So, all right, so so those are kind of the problems, and our initial proposal that we put in November tried to solve them by but kept the bundled insurance plus money market design. So we still didn't have a way to price insurance. And so instead of trying to price it, what we did was we said, all right, let's just put it like segment the risks into different DAOs, and those DAOs each have skin in the game, and they're incentivized to make good decisions because of that. And kind of the trade-off of that, the main one is complexity, right? Like the ADAO system, I think we can all agree was pretty complex. It would have a lot of different ADAOs. The governance gets tough. And the second trade-off is also just capital inefficiency. Like you have a lot of different pools of capital, and which makes it actually quite inefficient in terms of the pricing. So in our new design, the main difference and kind of the key one, if you take away anything, is just that insurance is offered as a separate product on the demand side, right? So and this makes it possible to compute cover demand and capacity, and so we can price risk using market mechanisms instead of saying, governance do it. And we can actually do it using market mechanisms, established market mechanisms. So I'm going to start with the UX because I think it makes it simpler for people to understand like the mechanism. So and it's fairly different from other insurance products. So the way we see it is users would get access to like one-click insurance. There would be on the front end, you'd have two different APYs. You'd have the uninsured APY and then the insured APY. And obviously the insured APY would just be the current yield on any of your deposits, like your USDC deposit, minus the cost of insurance. And you would even have, like in this case, a different asset that you receive. So obviously when you deposit to Aave USDC, you receive AUSDC. And in this case, if you chose the insured deposit, you would receive AAUSDC, right? Which accrues value at the insured APY rate, which is the USDC rate minus the cost of insurance. And then so how does this work on the supply side? And this is where it kind of gets interesting. I mean, first of all, like just a quick it's worth mentioning that this UX I think is quite interesting and kind of better than current products out there because users don't have to pay for insurance up front, right? Like degens don't know where their money is going to be tomorrow, like let alone in a year. So the UX that you have on current projects like Cover and NXM, where you have to like buy this cover up front, and then when you're not using it anymore, you have to sell it, is not ideal, right? Ideally, you just deposit, and if you want insurance, you're insured while your deposit's there. And if you don't, and then when you withdraw, you're no longer insured, and it's much easier. It's one click, and I think that's like quite a good improvement. And so how's this achieved? And it's all another actually little detail there is obviously with the cost of insurance, sometimes the APY can be negative because, and I'll get into that quickly after this, because the cost of insurance is based on the utilization rate of the safety module. So you could have sort of the cost of insurance be higher than the yield you're getting, in which case your net APY would be negative. But there's still a use case for that, in my opinion, because like there's if I have like a shitcoin, for lack of a better word, that I want to lever up, right? Because I want to borrow some stable coins to do some farms or whatever. I might be willing to take a negative yield on that because I know I can get a much bigger yield on the leverage just to know that I don't have any risk of losing my principal, right? And that's, I think, one of the reasons that Cream has been able to attract so much TVL is that they have the long tail of assets. So, all right, now how is this achieved? And this is where I think it's worth understanding because it's quite elegant in that it uses the same exact money market style architecture that Aave uses right now. So, and with the utilization rate. So high level, you can think of the supply side as the users staking to the safety module. That's like the depositors in Aave, right? And then the demand side which is the users buying insurance, that's like the borrowers, right? When a user stakes into the safety module, that actually opens up capacity for demand side users to buy insurance. And what you do when you're getting insurance is you're basically borrowing that capacity that's been opened up on the safety module, and you're paying for it on an ongoing basis, like it's a loan, like any other loan, right? And so this means that when utilization rate is high, so there's that users pay a high cost of insurance, but that also incentivizes more stakers to come in to the safety module, as in the case with current markets, right? And so we think this is really nice. And as we said previously, this actually becomes like a separate insurance product for Aave that can insure not just like current money markets, but also other money markets in future. And we have like two separate designs in the proposal. One is kind of simpler in that there's like a user stakes into the safety module, and there's one, and that opens up capacity, and then there's one interest rate that everyone pays. There's some problems with that one. We still think it's better than the current one, but there's some problems with it in that because everyone's paying the same rate, you can have a situation where like the price is high for USDC, right? You're paying a lot of insurance for USDC, which is a safe asset, but actually it's low for some of the like longer tail assets. So in our second proposal, it's kind of the same thing, but rather than an overall safety pool capacity, you have also capacity within each asset. So the staker can stake into the safety module, and then they can also stake into specific markets and get extra yield, but also take on extra risk and be slashed first, kind of similar to the ADAO model. And then yeah, so that's kind of the model in a nutshell. We're pretty excited about the possibility this opens up, because we think it's an interesting new product for Aave that can be used not just to ensure current money markets, but also like other products and protocols in future. You could start with stuff that's built on Aave, like Aavegotchi, right? And offer like smart contract insurance to Aavegotchi. But then eventually you can also like insure other protocols. And I think Aave has a big advantage here in that you literally have the biggest insurance pool in DeFi right now, right? The biggest capital pool in DeFi is the Aave safety module. And so I think there's a lot of potential here. And I think the yield to stakers will be much higher. It'll be much easier to compute the insurance liability, which makes creates more faith in sort of the insurance. And yeah, we're excited about the possibilities, and hope this helped, and look forward to hearing the community's feedback on this.
Awesome, definitely super exciting stuff. If you guys haven't checked it out, feel free to hop on governance.aave.com and you can check out the actual post. We do have Taryn from Gauntlet. He wants to give a few comments on the proposal, as well as some other things. So we'll give him the mic.
Hey guys, first of all, happy Aaveversary. I think it's a big accomplishment to have this really long graph on a log scale in terms of TVL. Kind of extremely impressive. And I guess one platitude I want to kind of explain is, I think the first time I'd heard the concept of a flash loan was DevCon last year, maybe. Yeah, I think from someone who was like, hey, I'm going to do something like this in a hackathon. But for some reason, no one ever took that and productionized it. And I think it's actually kind of amazingly genius to take that and which from a programming standpoint is a relatively simple concept, and like make something that is completely doesn't exist in normal finance. It's kind of something that economic theory has predicted would happen, that like someone would make a loan product like this, but it's never actually been made. So that I think that's like getting that to production and people using it is actually honestly quite insane. But I think a couple of things that just wanted to say were, so we're working on a market risk report, first of all, and I'm super excited to share that soon. We're going to have a couple of forum posts on that. But I think with regards to having a really big balance sheet in the insurance pool, I think it's going to be super important to take this really great idea of using this insurance pool that has built up over via both the Aavenomics and also coming up with future adjustments in terms of reserves, and diversifying it to kind of make sure that it's really stays as one of the safest and biggest insurance products in the space. But yeah, it's definitely exciting to see updates to it, and I think one of the main improvements I think that will be great to see in 2021 is figuring out how to diversify it and make sure it's not too dependent on one asset. But excited to share more in the forums on especially in terms of market risk. Watson, who's on this call, has done some really awesome work, and congratulations again.
Awesome, thank you so much. We do have one question or a couple here. First one would be, what direction does Aave Genesis team have in regards to Aave on Ethereum layer 2? So,
I think this could be maybe also. I think Emilio could answer, or Ernesto on and a bit kind of like maybe from like our kind of like perspective of how we see layer 2s in technically and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, first, hi everybody, guys. Sorry, we didn't present before. Yeah, from a technical perspective, we are currently evaluating multiple possible implementation on layer 2. One of the challenges that we are facing is that a protocol like Aave kind of depends more on the available ecosystem compared to others like Uniswap or automated market makers. For example, the reason is that the borrowing and lending use case usually kind of requires more external interaction. Usually user borrow on Aave, deposits on Aave, then borrow on Aave, and then takes the liquidity that he borrowed elsewhere to trade or to use the liquidity for whatever means he needs, right? So we are kind of bounded to the solutions that have been or will collect more wide adoption in the future. This doesn't mean like the cool thing about Aave and the way it was designed, it was designed from the beginning to be a protocol where we expect to have multiple markets, right? So potentially multiple markets, they can be on layer 1, they can be on layer 2, they can be on different blockchains. We are not really bounded by any kind of specific technology. So the thing is that the way we see it is that potentially in the future we will have Aave in different layer 2, for example, where each different implementation of Aave is essentially a different market controlled by the Aave governance and the Aave token. So technically wise, we are not really bounded by any particular solution. Of course, we are evaluating multiple at the moment. There are in progress some tests with some of the technologies that have been that will be released shortly, and we will see like what will be like the first adoption in terms of layer 2 for us. I don't know if Ernesto wants to add something from a technical perspective. Maybe Ernesto is muted. Okay.
Maybe it's muted, right?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Well, hello everyone. That's no, nothing much to add actually. Like right now is like it's pretty clear since like 3 months ago that this is the L2 solutions are kind of exploding. It was just like a powerful idea, let's say 1 year ago. Is something that it has been cooking for years already, almost since the beginning of Ethereum, but now it's becoming a reality. But and the implementations are starting to be mature and so on. So for us, like Emilio said, the most important part is that like our protocol is designed to scale. So it's quite important that the solution that we adopt, or the solutions that most probably are going to be multiple, they scale. They have the same potential of scalability, and that involves the connection with other assets. So we are working already on it, but there is no particular path that's saying we are going only this way or not the other. So, yeah.
Awesome. We do have two more. We've got one comment and then a question as well. A comment from HK Hone just saying thank you to the team for a great product. Thank you for your support. And then a question here is from Victor. Given the super interesting proposal from Delphi and the acute need for quality insurance in DeFi, is Aave's use case as generalized insurance something that the Genesis team envisions as an important development target in 2021?
Yeah, I think I can take this one. Yeah, I think when you think about the security module and eventually the fees that will accrue to them, it will not eventually be just the Aave token. There will be stablecoin, there will be ETH, even like with the balancer pool that soon you will be able to stake balancer Aave ETH shares in the safety module. So eventually, like, I think the future of the Aave protocol as an insurance, at least like the way I could see it, it starts with the Aave protocol, of course. It starts with the other markets, but then I don't see any reason why, especially with now like this new proposal that Delphi did that is quite like powerful. I don't see why like projects that build on top of Aave should not be insured, like Aave Gochi, things like that, insuring the smart contracts. But then this is general. This can be generalized to like anything in the ecosystem. Like there is a way to just like buy insurance from the safety module. Of course, I don't think it will come like in the next couple of months, but definitely like the building blocks to have the safety module and basically being like a generalized protocol for insurance is there. Like this is something that of course we see when this is built. So yeah, I think this is something that definitely is in mind. I think it's in our mind. It's in mind of already like a lot of community members, and it was in mind as well of Delphi when they built it. So yeah, I think this is going to be quite exciting.
Awesome. We've got another question here, and we're going to hand it off for some dev updates as well. But feel free to keep any questions coming in the meantime. But one question from Daniel over on YouTube. Great work, guys. Any update on the progress regarding Uniswap V2 becoming a market?
Yeah, I think this is interesting because one of the community members, Zero Dot, so he took the kind of like the opportunity to work on it, and it seems that it's coming quite soon. So interesting here is that the same model. Basically, what he's working is a scalable way to deploy new markets. So once there is the Uniswap version 2 market out, practically new markets can be more quicker deployed. Of course, like depending on like what type of a market, and there's some Oracle things related to that. But it will be a very scalable way to deploy new markets, and I think it's pretty much almost ready. So not that much, like waiting. But I'm looking quite eager, and kind of also like beyond the Uniswap, like what kind of markets you could have. I think the Curve team is looking forward to do a proposal on kind of like Curve specific money market with the Curve pool LP shares, and there's similar for the balancer as well, and a bunch of other kind of like interesting markets. And I think now that the version 2 protocol is out, the scaling with new assets and various different markets is very interesting. And also like simple markets as well, kind of like what we have an opportunity here is actually to create more simple markets. I could imagine that there could be a market where you have only ETH, WBTC as a collateral, and only one, let's say USDC as a borrow currency. So you get completely different interest rate for that particular market compared to what we have now in the main of a market. And then like it's up to the community to build additional tools, either like on a kind of like on top protocol level, for example, how to rebalance between these different markets, based on some sort of risk profile. It could be risk profile made by Gauntlet, for example. I mean, it creates a lot of opportunities when we have like dozens of markets out there, and with various risk and reward profiles. So yeah, coming quite soon.
Stani, I see that zero dot is on the chat is connected. So maybe if he wants to share like some technical details, if he's available, I don't know.
Because cool. Or because I remember he said that he's sitting out this one. He has some stuff. So
we've got another question from Andrew Schmidt. If he wants to ask that, I mean, he's in the call now, so can let him ask that.
Yeah. So first off, congratulations. It's been a super exciting year to watch Aave grow. I mean, I've been following the project since ETHLEN, so it's been super exciting to just see how you guys have innovated so fast. The question that I had was about the addition of adding staked assets as collateral. So I sort of came up with this question as I was reading through the proposal to add X sushi. And so it looks like in the proposal that you guys would allow it to be a borrowed asset as well. So I'm wondering how the yield would work there. Like, would the yield actually get paid out to like the AX sushi holders? Because it seems like that wouldn't be possible because you can borrow the asset and earn the yield there as well.
I can take it. I can take this if you want, Stani. Yeah, essentially from a technical perspective, probably X sushi will not be like the best borrowing currency. The reason it behaves a little bit like C tokens, right? In the sense that it's essentially a share of a staked asset. So the value of the share increases over time because it accumulates the sushi that are bought from the market, from the fees of the trading on the sushi protocol. So technically speaking, it is possible to allow X sushi to be borrowed. Of course, like from a borrower perspective, the borrower will need to repay in X sushi. So since there is not really a market for X sushi out there, what I imagine in the use case is that the borrower will unwrap the X sushi to take the underlying sushi to do whatever he needs to do with the sushi. But at the same point, when he will repay, he will need to wrap again the sushi, which means that he will probably need the more sushi that I had initially wrapped to repay the loan, right? If I'm not completely sure about that, but I think that more or less sushi works that way. From a protocol perspective of Aave, there is no reason why we should not allow borrowing. From a use case perspective, I'm not sure that is probably the best use case, but maybe there are some use cases out there. I don't know. When we give stuff to people always comes up with cool ideas to do something. So essentially what is missing is usually the possibility of doing something. And then when you do the possibility of doing something, then usually people comes up with ideas. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Well, we have also, I think Zero Dot is now here. He had some technical issues, but should be now available.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Cool. So yeah, actually I have been working on the Uniswap V2 liquidity pool token market. We've actually managed to, like, there was a couple of hurdles because I had to learn a lot about the way the code works and how the deployment works, but it's actually a lot simpler than I thought it was at first. So I think that, well, I'm going to be documenting a little bit of the process of how it goes. The code's going to be essentially the same as it already exists. We've deployed it on Kovan with some mock tokens. So, and that seems to work fine. So yeah, pretty exciting stuff. We're going to be pushing the market as soon as I can get the Oracle contracts and all that implemented. And yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. So look forward to that, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, Zero. I think then we can hand it off to devs for some dev updates. And then I think wrap it up with any more questions afterward and some closing remarks. So in the meantime, any questions extra, just if we have time, throw them in the chat and we'll address them.
Yeah, Ernesto, do you want to take this part, or I can go, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, I can come back again. So, yeah. I mean, in terms of development, well, first of all, is like in perspective after 1 year is a bit funny, like from my perspective, because like it was, I don't know who mentioned before, but imagine how it is like for the Genesis team that we released the version 1 of the protocol like 1 year ago, and it was like this day like 300,000 TBL, and now being in the order of 3 billions, like just would be billions. So like it doesn't. It sometimes like is like the new normal, but it's not so normal. So, but in the good sense. Yeah, but I think it's important a bit to say how we envision ourselves in terms of development during the next year, and more or less is pretty transparent in the direction in what we are going, and it's basically that if during the last year we were improving the protocol and everything around in terms of like let's say the engine, the core, now it's time for giving the and supporting, for giving the power and supporting the community to participate in all the developments that initially should be more or less on top, or even for sure optimizing part of this engine that maybe they need some improvement. So that is one of the first directions of the development, that is having a really important supporting role with the developers of the community, even more than before. Second is that we also have the, let's say, like the most mature iteration of the governance with the power on the Aave token and all the shapes of Aave token that are out there, and then there will be more. So yeah, the same, that is a simple system, but we want the community to come up with new ideas around that, and the Genesis team will be, of course, supporting it. And the next thing I think is like the markets. Like it's pretty clear that if anybody checks the governance forum or follows a bit the Aavenomics, and all the like the Aave communication channels, that the markets are going to be completely fundamental, having multiple markets, because we believe that this year is going to be the year of risk, like in the sense that protecting these protocols, because when something grows so much is when you actually need to really be really serious about the good risk modeling. For example, guys from Delphi or one that commented before. So yeah, there will be like some efforts in the creation of markets, supporting members of the community creating those markets, and the risk strategies related with that. I think that more or less like summarizes what we are working for. And it's something really important, and that personally I'm really happy because of that. 1 year afterwards is how one idea that we had when we started developing the protocol, the version 1, it went really mainstream, and is not actually the flash launch, but the idea behind the flash launch. Sometimes when we develop features or we try to implement new ideas, we don't really know like how they are gonna work out. Like for sure we do some models, for sure we know that something is potentially powerful, but we don't really know the use cases. Like we have multiple brainstorming sessions, and we say this looks really interesting, but it's not so clear for what is going to be used. And I think something that differentiates Aave and the Aave ecosystem from others is that we risk that. Like when we see an idea that we believe that is powerful, but we don't know the use cases yet, we prefer to implement it if it's secure, of course, and usually it works. And we are seeing a lot of this attitude from others projects, like for example Sushi or that is here, or somebody else, that they just try like in a secure way, but they just try, and usually it gives good results. So I'm really happy because of that in perspective. Yeah.
Awesome. So I think we can just wrap up with a few questions here, and then some closing remarks. We're almost on the hour. So we've got two questions. One from Jeffrey is, how close are we to bringing real world assets like Realty or TinLake onto the platform? And then another question from Richard, at some point, can we deposit NFTs as collateral?
Yeah, so I can take those two as well. The Realty and Centrifuge, so those will be also like two separate private markets. They have their own like restriction requirements because they deal with real world assets. But this is like coming very soon. I know this has been like quite some months now that it's very soon, but it's actually very soon. Like now, basically one of the things that is important for those markets is that some function needs to be permissioned. So for example, like in the case of a Realty market, only people that are like Realty clients could be able to borrow, of course. But you cannot like access the Realty token otherwise. So there is like few quirks that needs to be updated protocol wise, built on top to support. And for example, in the case of Centrifuge, the liquidators network of the Centrifuge market needs to be whitelisted as well. So this is something interesting. But yeah, this is coming quite soon. On the question of NFT, this is something like there is a growing interest. I know there is like some members already doing research, already starting to code. So I guess that's as soon as well. And for all of the things related to community developments, ideas, there is like the market make hackathon coming quite soon. So like we will publish soon all the prices, but there is like quite a lot of interesting things, prices to like build best on Flash loan, best governance related best governance related application. There is like a lot of things to build, a lot of exciting things. So don't hesitate to. You still have 2 days, I think, to sign up for the hackathon with our friends at Ed Global. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting.
Awesome. So we're just approaching on the hour, so I guess we could start wrapping things up and say any closing remarks. If anyone on the team or else has anything to wrap up with, otherwise, me personally, happy Aaveversary, everyone.
I can say just that practically we're also working on a community kind of like community development contribution guide. You know, if you're doing some development work and you want to build something on top, and or actually improve the current code base, and also thinking like how in future the grants program could work. So now interesting part is that the Aave team has been giving grants. I mean, we have our second round of grants, and I think we have given them over like 50 different grants. And in the future, now that the version 2 has the reserve factor that is accumulating and setting aside interest for the Aave reserve, there could be interesting opportunities for developers to kind of get finance for their ideas. And we probably will publish something soon on this topic. And also related to governance itself, I mean, the V2 Aave governance is interesting because not only you can delegate voting power to someone, but you can also delegate proposition power. So proposition power is something that you need to put actual smart contract code on chain for voting, and after successful outcome, that particular proposal gets into execution and part of the protocol changing parameters or so. So that's something that you should also kind of like consider. And we're going to improve dashboards on seeing like who are getting proposition power and can pitch themselves and campaign. And that's going to be quite interesting. But also, I urge like everyone to always participate in governance. It's very important. Why? This is the reason why we built decentralized infrastructure and that it gets distributed and the decision making is very widely distributed compared to what we have today in traditional finance. So I definitely urge everyone to participate or delegate and so forth. So that's from my part.
Awesome. Did anyone want to make any other closing remarks? Otherwise, we can wrap it up here. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. It's been a pleasure today, and happy Aaveversary.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
See you guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Everyone. Bye.
Bye.